fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption. Breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the wick burns out. Be carefree lately, yeah. Just picking up daisies. Got one too many quarters in my pockets. Counting like the four-leaf clovers in my locket. Untied laces, yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're dreaming.
There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back. You ain't gonna make it, you ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give a damn, you're not thinking straight, kid. No, they don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just faking. Nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore, I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds, talking out loud so proud. You better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more, speak out. It's about to head south. You're never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
the bottom of the bottle, I've been drowning, I've been floating away. Every other dollar that I got in bed, I probably went and pissed it away. I ain't fucking okay, I ain't liking it, babe. I don't even wanna talk, I'm just smoking my haze. I've been stuck in my ways, I've been stuck in for days. I've been staring at the clock as the radio plays. I'm enslaved. Yeah. Rolling another, I'm stuck in my seat for the whole control of my speech. Yeah, I've been trying to get off this couch for a minute and a whole damn week. No kidding, I'm skinny, I cannot eat. Got a million motherfuckers that depend on me. Yeah, every friend in my family, from a girl, every fan I meet myself. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down to make new thoughts, like jumping off of that rooftop. Hold my devil when I do nothing to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yours, steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame, I don't wanna lose it. Full of stage, trying to run my pain. See the sun coming out of that rain. My day really not tame, I'ma never slow down, I'ma never behave. Stuck inside this prison, inside this cage, it's taking over. Yeah, I'm a slave for you. Slave for you. Ripping 100 more less, never stop, no rest, till the stress is breath in my chest, till the diamonds wrapping my neck, progress to a god from a goddamn mess, hopeless, more tests, more blessed, dug deep down trying to find my best. Find a beast, had to kill a conquest, I'm next. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts, like jumping off of that rooftop. Hold my devil when I do nothing to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yours, steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame, I don't wanna lose it. Full of stage, trying to find my pain. See the sun coming out of that rain. My day really not tame, I'ma never slow down, I'ma never behave. Stuck inside this prison, inside this cage, it's taking over. I'm a slave for you.
Devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand, call.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome. I am so excited to see everybody this morning. What a week it's been. Cheers. Happy Friday to all of you awesome, awesome people. Good morning. Welcome to Friday Morning Tea with a Hacker. My name, as always, is Neil Bridges. We are 3/11/2022. I know we still got some folks over on Gerald Auger's stream looking at his first things first. So we'll get to our normal kind of script. I'm super excited to see everybody. I got a lot of updates for today. Lots of things to talk about. I'm sure most of you have seen the exciting stuff in the news, and we'll definitely get to talking about that as well. Want to remind everybody this is our Friday morning AMA stream, so go ahead and drop those questions in chat anytime you want to. My name is Neil Bridges. Welcome to all of our new joiners as well as our regular visitors. Streaming across today, YouTube and LinkedIn. We got a massive, massive amount of audience viewing us on LinkedIn as well as on YouTube. Looking for comments in both areas. We've got moderators moderating both LinkedIn and YouTube for that. This is our short format, so I will run through our intro super, super fast. I mentioned the moderators in chat. I want to personally thank all of my moderators each and every stream. Not just my streams, but all the streamers that they support throughout the entire week. Brandon, Jack, Brent, Josh, everybody who supports the myriad of streamers. Our moderators do a ton of work, so please drop some hype hands in chat for the moderators for their dedication. They do it. Moderators are here to keep chat free of sexist, racist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. We have a zero tolerance for toxicity on this stream, meaning we don't tolerate it, period, dot. I do trust my moderators explicitly, and their decision is final. If you're put on timeout or banned, you appeal to them, not to me. They're not here, however, to stifle chat whatsoever. They are here, as a matter of fact, to make sure that your voice gets heard. That's why we don't tolerate a toxicity here inside of the cyber and security stream. So with that being said, now's a fantastic reminder you, everybody, to hit that exclamation point Discord. That is going to be your best way to get in touch with a moderator, is by being inside of our Discord channel. So if you're not in our Discord, if you're on LinkedIn, I'll ask one of the moderators to drop the Discord link in over on LinkedIn. But if you're on YouTube, you can hit that exclamation point Discord to get access to our Discord channel. Also, when it comes to Discord, we do our giveaways via Discord. Now, this is where you will have to link your Discord with your YouTube account. That way we can verify that you are who you say you are if you are the chosen winner. I'm seeing a bunch of hashtags Simply Cybers. Looks like we may be having the team coming over from Simply Cyber. Glad to see you all coming over from Jerry's stream. With that being said, I'll obviously be answering questions on stream. This is our Friday morning AMA stream, so I do sit here and I make the time to answer all of your questions, as many of them as humanly possible. I do only have one rule when it comes to questions. I do ask that you ask your question once, just once. We do have moderators in chat who are doing their ever-loving best to grab all the questions and make sure that they get bubbled up to us as quickly as possible. Your questions are incredibly important to us, and they are the prime value that comes from this stream being live. Nowhere else on the internet are you able to ask as many questions as humanly possible to most of the professionals that we have here on the Cyber and Security channel, and so we do ask that you get those questions in. We do truly appreciate it. Awesome. Welcome to the Simply Cyber crew coming in. Thank you, DJ BSEC. Make sure you do go check out. Did we give BSEC a command for his channel? Either way, if you do go check out, if you're looking for a good DJ coming through, go check out my boy DJ BSEC. Super proud of him and super proud of the journey that he's got. All right, actually we'll answer this question a little bit coming through while we wait for some of the folks from Simply Cyber to kind of come in and hang out. Hey Neil, recently subscribed to eJPT Premium Program, and I got told that there was no possibility to connect to the labs from your own machine. Is that true, or can we only use web-based labs? So we're going to jump right into this question. Again, I encourage anybody to ask any questions. In all fairness, if you didn't see the update, I resigned from INE. Last Friday was my last day at INE. I am now no longer Chief Content Officer at INE. So what does that mean exactly? It means I'll be more than happy to answer questions about INE up until the day that I left. I've obviously always given my very, very candid and direct opinion about INE before I was an employee, during my employment there, and I will absolutely do it post-employment as well. I saw. Yeah, did not see the update. Yeah, it was on LinkedIn. It was also on Twitter. I'll explain the whys here in a little bit. Yep, keep the questions coming in. Yep. So I'll answer this and then I'll talk about the whys a little bit. Okay. There is a distinctive strategic move to going to web-based labs, or at least there was. And again, I'm going to speak in terms of now, I can't be held accountable for whether the strategy changes since Monday of this week, but, and so I'll tell you how it was when I left. This has always been a sore spot. Let's talk about the web-based labs for a minute. Now, one of the, I've always tried to be incredibly transparent, incredibly forthcoming. There were certain things that obviously I couldn't say while I was an employee of INE. There are some things that I can say a little bit more freely, not being an employee of INE. But I'm not going to bash INE, any more than I would any other time. So, I'm still an advocate of INE. I'm still a cheerleader for INE. I still very much believe in the vision and the idea that is INE, and I still very much believe that they have some of the greatest content, some of the greatest instructors that exist out there, period, dot, hands down, without a doubt. But what I will say is that one of the things that I think people, and maybe INE didn't communicate it directly, it's entirely possible. Who knows? Hindsight's always 20/20. Everybody can second string quarterback all day long, right? Here's what I'll tell you. When you look at training, right? There are people who view, well, let's take a step back. Cybersecurity is unique in its training aspect, right? Cybersecurity, if you want to practice hacking, you have to have targets. If you want to practice defense, you have to have you have to have infected machines. This has always been the challenge with practicing cybersecurity, right? Because you can either spend your own time, money, and resources creating a vulnerable lab environment. You can spend your own time, money, and resources building machines that are infected, run the risk of infecting your own stuff. And so at cybersecurity, we've always had this idea that we needed to have a practice range, right? Whether we use the analogy of like a golf range, whether we use the analogy of a gun range, whatever the case is, a range where we can go practice hacking and we can go practice defense. If you think about it in that terms, INE was never meant to be a practice range. But I kid you not, we had a lot of people who were using our lab environment. They weren't taking the content, or maybe they were taking the content, but then they were using the lab time as a range instead of actually taking the labs to learn the content that's there. So that's point number one. Point number two very much is when you teach learning objectives, you're supposed to teach the whys and the hows, not the training of the tools, right? And so if I give you a Kali instance with Zap and I teach you Zap, it's not so that you learn Zap, right? It's so that you learn how to use a web proxy to do cross-site scripting or SQL injection or insert whatever the case is here, right? The idea in every educational institute, it's always been take these concepts and expand upon these concepts and then use it with burp. And then use it with insert tool here on your own time, on your own area as you see fit. But we're teaching concepts. And so I think people got lost to that when we said we're going to move to web-based labs, because web-based labs are meant to reduce the barrier of training. You know how many times we've been on stream and people said, hey, Neil, I want to get into ethical hacking. What laptop should I buy? Or do you think a laptop with this much RAM or this much will let me do ethical hacking? Can I run VMs on this machine so I can practice ethical hacking? You realize that by moving to web-based labs, it reduced that barrier to entry for folks who couldn't afford a MacBook Pro or the latest and greatest laptop? Now, yeah, there's always going to be people who are like, well, Neil, I want to use this thing I found off of GitHub. And I can tell you, as of last Friday, there were moves inside the organization to adjust that and try to accommodate folks like that. But at the same time, you have to be realistic with yourself that that's not the main goal of learning objectives. The goal isn't to give you a free-for-all range that you can use whatever tool you want to. It's to teach learning objectives. And so I think that that's what's missed in this conversation, is that you're supposed to be learning objectives, not tools. And so learn the tools that are taught to you, understand the learning objectives, and then go practice on your own. That's the idea. But the concept is supposed to be teaching learning objectives. So with that being said, I know there's a long diatribe in there when it comes to this. So let's, kind of one of the things that I wanted to talk about this morning very much, and I obviously wanted to do this stream. I always love streaming. I wanted to talk about, for those who may not have seen the LinkedIn update or seen the Twitter update, that I did move on from INE. And I want to kind of talk to you all about a lot of things that came with that move away from INE and into query. Lot of stuff to unpack. And so I highly encourage questions. Highly encourage questions about this. I've been in sub chat a lot this week, on Discord, talking with a lot of folks about, kind of leading up to this stream. And so I want to share with you all how I failed. And that was something I was very, very adamant about when I wanted to do this stream, was I wanted to talk to you all very, very much about, the failures that I went through in this recent job search. Sorry, got caught up reading chat. Thank you for the answer. Thank you for the question. Happy to give you my perspective all the ways. I'm glad you got something out of it. Thank you very much for acknowledging that. So let's talk about the why. The why is always going to be really, really hard, right? As I mentioned before, I do believe in INE. I do believe in the mission, the goal, and the objective. I tell you all frequently to keep your options open, that you should always be out there looking, and even more so if you're not happy and you're trying to, find your way in this world, right? That moment came for me about 60 days ago, okay? About 60 days ago, I started to dip my foot into the water and just kind of see what's out there, right? And that's not uncommon. I frequently do that. See what the market looks like, see what the demand looks like, see what salaries look like, see what kind of cool jobs there are. This is something that always, I recommend everybody do this, right? It's something I always do, right? And so I started to do that about 60 days ago. And I want to talk to you about the ways that I got shot down in my job search, right? Because I think that there's a misconception when we talk about something sometimes where, hey, I see Nick on there. How's it going, buddy? Glad to see you in chat. Haven't seen you in a while. There's this misconception like, oh, Neil never gets turned down for a job. No, I want to talk to you very, very much about how I got turned down for a job. One of the first jobs that I applied for about 60 days ago. So Carmen moved on from PwC to a large financial organization. And so she's been really embedded in this financial organization. She's one of their executive leaders for cloud security over at a huge, massive, like a Fortune 10 like financial organization type of thing. Obviously, PwC's got a ton of connections over there, and I've got a ton of connections at PwC, quite frankly as well. I had perused their job board because I had seen the culture that they had at that organization, and their culture was phenomenal. Like, I was incredibly impressed with their culture over there. And so I perused their job board and found a job posting for what was called a distinguished engineer. And it was kind of this mix between you are technical enough to talk to the engineers, but executive savvy enough to talk to the executives. You don't necessarily have people reporting to you, but you're working both sides of the aisle and you're reporting to some of the highest people in the organization. And the way the job posting read, I was like, heck yeah, this is an awesome job posting. And so I do what I recommended all of you all do, right? I asked my wife to get me an introduction. I asked my friends at PwC to get me an introduction. I called friends of friends and said, hey, do you know anybody at this particular financial organization? Can you get me an introduction? To which they all said yes. And so, boom, right there, networking, getting me an introduction into the highest leaderships in that organization. I was recommended that I needed to apply for a job at that organization. So I did. I went to the website, I clicked apply for job. On the job rec, there was the typical, job qualification stuff, and they had a minimum qualifications and a preferred qualifications. As with any job rec that I've seen out there, especially from these big legacy organizations, the minimum job requirements was a 4-year degree. I don't have a 4-year degree. I have no intention of getting a 4-year degree. You'll never catch me dead in a college ever again getting a degree. And so I said, I'm not going to let that stop me, just like I tell you all this, and I'm going to go ahead and apply for this job. So I did. And they were using Workday for their kind of job application mechanism. And so I filled out the job application on Workday, went through the entire rewriting of my resume into Workday process, because, that's so much fun. Even though I say that I don't do it, there are certain jobs that I will break down and do it for if they're good enough. So I applied for the job. Get to the end of the Workday automated piece, and there was a questionnaire at the end of Workday that said, do you meet the minimum job requirements for this job? So I went back and looked, and there it was, right there in my face. Must have a 4-year degree as a minimum job requirement. I hit yes. I hit no. I did not meet the minimum job requirements for that job. I immediately got denied for the job. The system immediately denied me for the job. I was like, what just happened there? I just got denied, and I didn't even talk to a single person. I didn't talk to a recruiter. I didn't talk to my contacts that I had. I didn't talk to the people that I was going to get intros to. I didn't talk to people that I'd been recommended to. I got immediately denied based on not having a 4-year degree and being honest on the Workday system. I talked to my friends at PwC. They said, oh yeah, that's right. This particular financial organization's got a hard line that they don't hire anybody without a 4-year degree. They haven't moved past that yet. And I was like, but you know me, you've seen the work I've done. I've got all these recommendations from everybody who's working inside this organization. I can't even get a conversation going with the CISO. And they were like, nope, without a 4-year degree, we're not even going to look at you. So that's me. That's me. I'm getting shot down without ever talking to anybody, even though I got a recommendation for a 4-year degree. I didn't let that stop me. I did not let that stop me. This is why I tell you all that part of job searching is just luck, right? I can't change that organization, and I'm too far into my career. I'm too long in my tooth, right? And I've made it so far without a 4-year degree. I'm not going to waste my time, money, or effort to go back and get one. It literally doesn't teach me anything, and I will refuse. I utterly refuse to get a piece of paper that says that I'm qualified when in fact I didn't actually learn anything that makes me qualified. And so yeah, like Hockey Freak says, right? The universe is telling you that job wasn't for you. That's 100% right. That mentality right there is exactly what I walked away with when I got shot down. That was my first job posting that I had gone after right out of the gate, and I'd gotten shot down for it. And I didn't let that stop me, because I realized that that job, that particular point in time, that particular whatever, that was not the right time for me. And I think that that's an important distinction to make, important thing to self-realize as you all are going out there hunting for those jobs, is that you getting turned down has nothing to do with whether you're qualified for the job or not. Think about that. should I have stopped hunting for a job and thinking that I was unqualified to work in this industry simply because one company automatically denied my application for not having a 4-year degree? Remember, I spent 10 years in the Air Force where I did get 2 associate's degrees for cybersecurity, one for cybersecurity, one for engineering. I've built and ran red teams for some of the largest financial organizations in the world. I've built a $10 million ARR practice for pen testing for an MSP. I've led the incident and threat management function for PwC in the Midwest. I've built 2 security functions for Fortune 100 companies. Mind you, both of those Fortune 100 companies and PwC all had to write exceptions for me because I didn't have a 4-year degree so they could hire me. And I'm going to let one company's policy stop me from looking for a job. So put it in that perspective for a second. It's not something that you should let stop you just because one company doesn't think you're qualified. So anyway, any company that's still requiring 4-year degrees aren't worth your time. I mean, there are companies that require 4-year degrees. There are companies that require 4-year degrees and recognize that they need to lax that, and they'll write exceptions. I can say that the 2 Fortune 100 companies that I worked for both wrote an exception because I didn't have a 4-year degree. PwC wrote an exception because I didn't have a 4-year degree. And so, like, this is a funny one. I like this one. Yeah, very much so. Thank you, Purple. Neil, we're sorry you don't qualify for SOC Analyst 1 because ADP says so. Yes, exactly. My point of the matter, my point of this, right, was I didn't let that stop me. I utterly did not let that stop me. I kept a spreadsheet, and I want to talk to you about the tactics that I used going through this, right? I honestly, like, I was floored. I laughed about it. Carmen and I had a really good laugh about this. And I said, this is going to make for a really great story when I tell it on stream. So I've been dying to tell you all this story for about 60 days now because it was pretty phenomenal. I kept a spreadsheet, and here's what I did. I did a mix of applying for jobs via LinkedIn. LinkedIn was my primary source of looking for jobs. I put to practice everything that I teach you all, right? I look for jobs that I'm interested in. I try to make networking connections. I reach out to folks and try to establish, a rapport with them, and then I talk to them about the roles that they've got. I'll give you another example. If anybody remembers, we've had Daedry from CyberSN on the stream. A couple months back. The CyberSN platform is awesome. As a matter of fact, I totally forgot about the CyberSN platform when I first started my job search, and I think I was talking with Josh Mason, and he was like, "Hey, have you checked CyberSN?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I should check CyberSN." And they had a CISO role for a crypto company, and you all who have been a part of this, have known that I've been really getting into NFTs and crypto since probably like Q3-ish, of last year. And so there was a CISO role, and it was a very well documented out CISO role. It looked like it was a perfect fit for me the way the job description was written, and it was for a crypto company. And so, again, going back to the networking stuff, right? I didn't apply for the job on CyberSN. What I did was I sent an email to Daedry because we have a previously existing relationship. And I said, hey, look, you got this role on your website. I'd love to work with your team and see what we can do to put my best foot forward in applying for this job. She put me in touch with the recruiter on the CyberSN team who was specifically working with that client. And we spent some time putting together a very, very impressive package. We put my resume in there. They had some initiatives that they had gathered from the CEO that was going to be top of mind for him, that they would like this CISO to address. And so I took an evening and I sat down and I wrote a strategy, just kind of a napkin math strategy about how I would address his top 5 concerns. I put together my NFT portfolio and talked about some of the learnings that I had learned and done in crypto just in the last 6 months. And we packaged up a super nice package. We sent it over to him. Denied. Denied. You know what he said? He said I hadn't spent time in a software engineering background. I came back, I self-analyzed. I pulled the CyberSN team together. I said, can you kind of explain to me what he meant by I hadn't spent time in a software engineering background? And they were like, yeah, we'll go back and talk to him and see what he says. And so they went back and talked to him and had a conversation. I was like, CISO software engineering, CISO software engineering. And he came back and said, yeah, we want this person to be able to come in, do deep dive code reviews, do software architecture, and be able to build the software engineering team and keep us on a development lifecycle schedule. And I said, so they want a CTO or a product manager, they don't want a CISO. And the answer I got was, no, they want a CISO that is also all of these other things as well. Denied. And Jerry just said it right there, right? That's a job role that's different than the job title. And so this is exactly what we've talked about here on stream, right? Is that sometimes people will write a job title based on what it is that they think that they need to have the job title called, but they will put the role, but then you go into the process and they're like, nope, you don't have software engineering and I need you to be able to run a software engineering company for us, right? And so like that's the type of mentality that you've got to be aware of, is that, so that's kind of like take number 2 as we talk about job roles, right? Is you've got some legacy companies who won't give exceptions for non-4-year degrees. And then you've got companies like this who write job roles looking for X, but then when you get into the process, they're like, no, we're going to deny you. Now, that may be, my experience may differ from yours in the fact that I had a relationship and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing to find out why the answer was no. I wasn't going to take no for an answer without pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, the entire time. And so like my experience may be different than yours in terms of figuring out what that reason, but that just goes to show that there are job titles that you might be applying for. It may say pen tester, and it may actually not be a pen tester role, or it may actually say analyst, and it may actually be a pen tester role. And so like you all, as you're looking at these job descriptions and you're looking at these job titles, don't get so hung up on job descriptions and job titles when you're looking for roles, right? At the end of the day, and again, self-reflection, when that happened, I came back, I self-reflected, and I said, you know what? If that's their mentality, that's not a company I want to work for. Jerry read my mind, right? Denied or saved you from incendiary burnout. Absolutely. Absolutely. If that's the mentality of a CEO, why would I want to work for a CEO that doesn't align to my views and principles? Okay? So that's so that's another case of denying that I wanted to share with you all, right? Again, in terms of getting denied. So there you go. There's 2 denials that Neil got. I need to put these flames out. Hold on for a second. So I mean, disappointed to say the least, but you keep going, right? You keep going, you keep putting through. We'll fast forward a little bit because everybody knows I can get a little long-winded here. The Query AI team has been a partner of this stream for a while. Every quarter last year, they gave away a free INE sub. I think it was every quarter. It was every month. Sorry, it was every month. I forgot it was every month. Every month they gave away an INE sub. I met Andrew in Q3, Q4 of 2020, right? And they told me the vision. I met him and Daraj in Q4 of 2020, and they told me the vision that they had for Query. This is when they were starting out. And I immediately thought in 2020, I was like, if I had known this when I built security teams in both of the Fortune 100 companies I'd worked out for, I'd have bought this product in a heartbeat. And that says something. I am always super skeptical when I go into product conversations because I've seen a lot of products and I've seen a lot of products have like really terrible expectations that have never got met, right? And so for me to say that in 2020 was a testament to what they had really found and where they were really trying to drive with this. And so I had, Andrew and I had met frequently throughout all of 2021. He would ask me my thoughts on particular features. He'd ask me my thoughts on, direction of a product, how security operations teams work, yada, yada, yada. It was kind of a confidant, relationship type of basis. And so it was really awesome. So fast forward, I'm in the midst of this job search, and it comes time for me to do my quarterly check-in with Andrew, find out when I'm going to be able to drag his butt right back on stream as well. And so I told him, I said, hey, look, I just want to let you know I'm on the hunt for a new role. If you've got anybody who's looking, to pick somebody up my caliber, I'd be more than happy to chat with them. And he extended out an offer to say, well, would you consider coming to work for Query? And I was not expecting that. Was not expecting that at all. As a matter of fact, it kind of took me off guard. I was kind of like, oh, wow, you want me to come work for you? Absolutely, I'd love to. And so we went through the interview process, and lo and behold, Query.ai made me an offer to come be their CISO. That's kind of the abbreviated version of how that happened. Do me a favor real quick while I've got everybody's attention here. Head on over to Query.ai inside of LinkedIn and give them a like on LinkedIn. Show some love. Show some love for my new company. Go over to LinkedIn, go over to Query.ai and show some love and like out like Query.ai if you haven't already. That's kind of the short abbreviated version of how I got there. What I want to talk about as part of this, right, is that's how accidental job hunting can be. That's the value of networking, right? I've known Andrew for over a year, right? And he saw me go from one Fortune 100 company to I&E, and he saw me when I was looking to job hunt at I&E. And now just happened to be the right time where he was looking for a CISO. And now happened to be the right time that I happened to be looking for a job, and he happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time. Right? And it was just through having those casual conversations to say to him, hey, I'm looking for a job. Let me know if you got anything going on, right? And so like when we talk about how to leverage your network, and I was having this conversation in sub chat a little bit last night, right? Where you pick people, a handful of people that will have a conversation with you on the regular, whether that conversation comes in DMs, whether that conversation comes in back and forths and comments on social media posts, whatever the case is, you build that rapport. You offer your advice, you ask them for advice, you become a person that you can talk to with that person. That way, when the time is right, you have a relationship that can benefit both people at the same time. And I think that that's the value of networking that we miss when we talk about the 1,000 Connect Challenge, when we talk about building your network on LinkedIn, when we talk about commenting on posts, when we talk about commenting on things like that, right? It's about this idea that you're networking, you're building those relationships, and then yes, when I have a random conversation with Andrew and tell him I'm looking for a role, and he's like, hey, would you love to come over here and be our CISO? It's like, boom. So to all the points that were made in chat about, that was a terrible company, that was the universe saying this wasn't the right time for you, yada, 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 that is destiny defined. Those of you who are hunting for a job, it may feel crazy, like the universe is against you, that you haven't found a job. I completely empathize with you. I completely empathize with you about how frustrating it can be. Absolutely. And again, that's why I wanted to share with you my failures, is because I literally just went through some of these failures just now in my job search. But I can unequivocally tell you that it's a Rubik's Cube of trying to get to your goal, right? This wasn't the right direction. This wasn't the right direction. This wasn't the right color combination. It's just a matter of perseverance and continuing to move closer and closer and closer and closer to your goal. So yes, on Monday, I started a new role as CISO at Query.ai. If you don't remember Query from Andrew being on the stream, or if we haven't talked about Query in a while, I'll tell the story that attracted me to Query back in 2020 when I first met the team. When I built security operations teams before in the past, right, and again, there was a Fortune 100 company that I worked for that had no SOC whatsoever. They had no security team. They had no CISO, right? When I showed up in 2016, they had just hired their first CISO, right? And so, you know, we were starting over from scratch. They didn't have any security tools that you would think of from a security tool perspective. And so one of the first strategies after we put in some very, very basic incident response processes was, okay, how do we work on the security architecture, and how do we get the tools in here that we need to monitor this organization, right? And so me and the security architect sat down and we said, well, we need a SIM, we need EDR, we probably need some email protection, and that kind of represented what we had defined at the time as our reference architecture model, right? And so that was the strategy that we put together in 2016, and we went out to build that. And the reason that we needed a SIM, right, was because we needed to pull all of this data, right, from all across the enterprise. It was a 150,000 person company in 170 countries. We needed to pull all this data together. We needed to aggregate it somewhere so that we could investigate for it, looking for cybersecurity incidents, right? Duh, that's the strategy that we had in 2016. When I got to when I met Andrew Daraj in Q3 of 2020, they had shared with me a vision of, imagine if you could, I don't want to say do away with the SIM, but what if I could buy one piece of technology that basically acted as a giant infrastructure interchange for all of my technology across my environment, and I could query one console. I could search for one piece of evidence, I could get one alert on one console, and then this piece of technology would interpret, right? I could say 192.168.1.1, and it would automatically interpret how to query it in CrowdStrike, how to query it in Splunk, how to query it in Proofpoint, how to query it in Active Directory, how to query it. It would automatically do that. So instead of having to have different log sources all come in with 1,500 different data parsers, learning a crazy query language so that I could pipe a bunch of things together so that I could query all these things inside of a Splunk console, I could submit one simple query, and the interchange would go out to all of the technology and query that for me, right? And I was like, you mean I don't have to have centralized log storage? Which means that I had a $30 million budget at this company, and I kid you not, 15 million of that was spent on Splunk because I had to centralize data from all across the enterprise. So what if you tell me that I probably could have reduced my Splunk budget probably by like 90% with a single piece of technology that allows me to query across the environment? I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. Not only that, but and for those who have never built infrastructure like this, right? What ends up happening is there's this entire process you go through. You sit down and you go, all right, Splunk, I want you to come in. I want you to tell me how much I'm going to spend to monitor everything in my environment. They're like, oh yeah, money rolling back in the eyes. They're like, we got this, dude. This is going to be awesome. And they're like, how many servers you got? You want all the Windows event logs, I presume, right? Yep. You got EDR? Yep, cool. You got some DLP? Cool, awesome. You got some CASB? Cool, awesome. Yep, and so then you get this spreadsheet, and they're like, cool, you're going to be ingesting 15 terabytes a day, and it's going to cost you your soul and your firstborn kid in addition to $50 million a year in your Splunk budget. And you take that back, and you look at that, and you go, there is no way in hell that I'm going to get anybody to approve this budget. And so what do? You start rolling back. You take a step back, and you go, all right, well, let's start with use cases. Let's put our use cases down. What are the top 10 use cases that we're interested in? All right, cool. Let's start paring back just the necessary logs that we need to get into our SIM just to cover those use cases. And you start rolling all that back. And what you find yourself in, if you've never been part of this, you find yourself in a position where you are actively making a decision to compromise the integrity of your enterprise because you can't secure everything. And so what I saw then in 2020, what I've seen over the last year, And what I've seen since being, here this week at Query is a change in this idea that I can have one search, type of interface, and I can search across every piece of security technology I've got, and I don't have to store a single log. I don't have to bring it into a single centralized storage element. I don't have to learn 15 different query languages. I don't have to pivot outside of a console to go there, and I can keep it in there. And to me, that excited me. As somebody who's built security teams, that is what has excited me about it. And I can tell you that in this last week, I've seen it, and it's awesome, and I can't wait to share it with you all. The role that I've got, you'll laugh about this. I am CISO of Query. I am also the SOC analyst, the incident response analyst, the purple teamer, the red teamer, the GRC analyst, the IT auditor, the CTO, the marketing evangelist, and I think there's and then products to me as well, right? I'm all these things. This is utterly like my dream, right? I get to come into an organization like this, and I get to legitimately build something up from scratch in my image of all the years of experience that I've got, and I get to build an awesome security program. I get to build a kick-ass security program. I love it. I love it. I can't even begin to tell you how daunting and exciting this is all at the same time. At BSEC, Neil stole my job. I did. I managed to get the job title that you were supposed to get, BSEC. Mark, this is a good point right here. Martine says Google Chronicle does not charge by ingestion. That should be the future. That is one aspect of Google Chronicle. I was introduced to Google Chronicle a number of years ago. Google Chronicle is great in theory, but they're nowhere near being able to be capable of doing anything even remotely close to like what Splunk was doing. And I think that they're so far off from that. Not that again, it's not a knock on Chronicle. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's great in theory, but what I've seen in practice, no. Thank you for this, Cyber Centurion. Right, just keep an eye out for burnout. Congrats, happy for you. This is where trusting your leadership comes into play, right? I've had the privilege of being exposed to Andrew for the last year, right? And I've watched him from the outside run Query. He's been a confidant and a friend for a year, and so I trust him. And so I have no doubt that he's looking out for me. He's watching my 6. He's also former military, right? So he's watching my 6, and I'm watching his 6, right? And so sure, if I start to get some burnout, I have no doubt that I could call him up and be like, hey, look, I need to take a week off, and that's not going to be an issue. And so I appreciate you doing that, but that is something that I take into consideration when I look at roles like this. I walk into this like it's walking in with eyes wide open and knowing that I have this wide breadth of responsibility to this organization. But I want you to understand like what does it for me, right? This is an organization that has realized that they want to eat their own dog food and be secure from Jump Street, right? If you look at most startups, they're not thinking about security at this stage of their company. If you look at most startups in this phase, they're not thinking about security. Right? And so this is a testament to how critical Query takes security, that they're willing to say, this is how important you as a customer are to us, that we're willing to invest in a CISO and a security posture from Jump Street. Right? And so I think that that's important. I think that says something. And I'll tell you, I've been at the company for a week now. It was Wednesday when I finally got access to our platform, and I immediately started to use our platform to monitor the environment, right? I didn't need to call Splunk. I didn't need to bring a SIM in. I didn't need to stand up anything in AWS to start centralizing my data. I literally hit deploy, and I started to build my API integrations for CrowdStrike and all the other security technologies that we've got. And I was able literally to start accessing the ability to query across all these security technologies literally on Wednesday. So I've got my security operations done in one day. in one day. I gotta put some flames out here. Thank you very much for reminding me, Josh, about the giveaway. That's a fantastic opportunity for me to run said giveaway if I can find it. Let's come over here. Here's what we're gonna do. I want to thank Adrian Cantrell for his all the things. If you're not familiar with Adrian Cantrell does some very, very awesome cloud training, some of the best that's out there. He's incredibly smart. I had the privilege of chatting with him one time, and he is so smart. He's a huge supporter of cyber insecurity as well as cyber supply drop. And so we're going to be giving away and all the things. You do need to be in Discord. Okay, you're going to message Josh Mason. You do need to make sure that your Discord and your YouTube are linked together. So if you're watching us, if you're one of the 100+ people that are watching us on LinkedIn, you do need to be in YouTube to participate in this giveaway, and you do need to be in Discord to redeem it as well. So everybody should be seeing that go out right now. And I'm gonna move a couple windows around just so that I can continue to monitor things. And then I'm gonna go to questions. Let's see what we've got here in the question pool. I saw one that I wanted to address just about query when I was explaining it, right? How do you address compliance requirements for log retention and centralized logging? This you will never get away from. Thank you, IT audit, right? And for people who are not aware, there are certain audit requirements, certain regulatory requirements, depending on what construct, whether it's like PCI, HIPAA, PHI, CMMC, that you have to adhere to a certain amount of log retention. But one of the things that I encourage you to remember is that's for a small subset of your data, right? That's only for a small subset of your data. And that's what I would remind you is that, yes, you will still need some form of compliance logging, but chances are your IT team was doing that in the first place. You didn't need to have a SIM to meet those compliance logging requirements. And so that's kind of a catch-22 there. So yeah, you'll never get away from that, but it's not near the volume that you would ever see if you were actually putting stuff into a SIM from like a security requirements perspective. So valid point, but it's not a singular use case that I think I would hedge that says that you should go out and invest heavily, $10, $15, $20 million into SIM. So this is a good question from Bayou Beast. I appreciate this one. What are some key components when building out a security team program from scratch? So there are really kind of two ways that I go about, and again, I'll be honest with you, there's two ways that I'm looking to go about approaching this security program, right? They are a product company. They're looking to sell a product, and so they need some type of attestation that they're awesome, right? Whether that comes in like an ISO 27001, a SOC 2, right? A FedRAMP if they ever decide to sell federal, right? There's some type of attestation that needs to happen, for them to have that documentation. And it also makes third-party risk management easier. I know I give Jerry a hard time about third-party risk, and I always will give Jerry a hard time about third-party risk. It is a necessary evil, but I'm still going to be cynical and give Jerry a hard time about third-party risk. And so, so that part is something that is going to be top of my mind. The second part that's going to be top of my mind is gaining visibility and being able to identify, detect, and respond to cybersecurity events that happen across the enterprise. Those two things, I think, when you start from scratch, those are the two things that that I think make for your pillars that you start with, right? And that's kind of how I plan on addressing this is. Being able, and one of the things that I think governs my mentality as I'm going about doing this, right, is I want to continue to enable the business to take risk. And we've talked about that numerous times on this stream before, right? Especially working for a startup like this, they need to be able to move agile. I need to not be in their way. Security needs to not be in their way. I need to continue to be able to protect the enterprise, but I need to make sure that I'm enabling them to take the risks that they need to continue to make money and be profitable, right? And so that's going to be the governing principle that I have as I go out and I build this security program up from scratch. Love that question. Chris comes through, says, how long did it take you to redo your resume for each job you applied to? I think all in all, it ended up taking me, like, I think it ended up with 5 or 6 different versions of my resume, if I recall correctly. And so I think it took me about maybe 30 minutes-ish or so to kind of go through all the different iterations of my resume. I try to be really pragmatic with my resume changes. Hey, Neil, your conversation with David Bombal since last year helped me a lot in landing a job in SOC. Thanks a lot. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Give a round of applause. Give a round of applause. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name, but thank you very much. And everybody give this person a round of applause in chat. Thank you very much for that. Congrats on your new... oh, this is coming in from Twitter. This one came in from Twitter. By the way, just in case you didn't know, we are broadcasting live on Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you can @ us on Twitter. Yep, there we go. Appreciate you. So this came in from Twitter. Thank you so very much for this coming in Twitter. Congrats on your new gig query. Very interesting yet mind-boggling regarding the auto reject by bots. Appreciate you sharing your failures and disappointments with us so candidly, openly, especially because not too many people would be courageous enough to speak. Thank you. That's why I do this. That's why I do this, is because I believe in giving you all the stuff that happens behind the scene. So yeah, you can chat in LinkedIn, you can chat in YouTube, and I forgot, you can @ me on Twitter, and we're pulling those in right now too. What else we got here? Let's see here. I answered that one already. Oh, this one just came through. How do you maintain confidence in your skills when you make a mistake? You realize that you're human, right? Listen, this confidence thing is, I think, is a red herring, right? You need to realize you're awesome, right? And I was having a conversation with one of our community members the other day, right? You are where you are. You are where you are because of how awesome you are, right? And you're going to continue to push yourself, and you're going to continue to be awesome, and you're going to continue to excel in everything that you do because of how awesome you are, right? So don't, it's easier said than done, and I get that, but you need to have it in your head that you are awesome. And making mistakes is normal. Like, look, every human makes a mistake. Like, oh my God, let me tell you the first time I tipped over a box because my ego got in the way, right? First time I tipped over a box when I got out of the Air Force and I thought I was hot crap, right? And I was like, oh, I just came from the Air Force. I just came from doing cyber operations for the Air Force for a national security agency. I could run anything I want to run. And I tipped over a box, right? What am I supposed to do? Am I throw my phone, walk out, quit, beat myself up? Like, everybody makes mistakes, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, okay, congratulations, you're human. You're not a robot. Confirmed, right? So it is okay, and you have to be okay with it. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Embrace it. Learn from it. I think what we get too hung up on is we get too hung up on the mistake, and we forget to learn from it and grow from it. Right? I think we forget to grow from our mistakes. That's the part that I think is more important, is how do we grow from our mistakes? Dev, when is the Query AI swag giveaway? I don't know. I'm still trying to get some swag. There will definitely, I did try to get with the marketing team to see if there was any like stuff hanging around that I could get to give away last minute, but I couldn't find anything. So in time. Let's real quick, before I roll for this giveaway, if you entered into the giveaway, I do want to make sure you are in Discord. You do have your YouTube and your Discord linked. You are going to message Josh Mason when I call your name. Before I roll for this winner, of this all the things, I appreciate seeing everybody in LinkedIn as well. I want to remind everybody, next Saturday, not this Saturday, not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, is going to be something truly exciting on this channel right here, right? Again, if you missed the announcement, I'll say it here. We've been selected. And when I say we, it's you. It's you. You as an awesome community, you as the cybersecurity awesome community, the moderators on this team, every moderator that supports this, every streamer like Brandon, like Jack, like Brent, everybody who makes this community awesome. We've been selected to be the preferred exclusive stream outlet of next Saturday's Global Cyber Games. Mic drop. What does that mean? That means that there are 10 countries from across the globe that are going to be competing in a castle versus castle. And when I say castle versus castle, it is offensive and defensive. They're going to have offensive teams and defensive teams going against each other in a country versus country fashion. It's going to be, we're going to start streaming at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. So this should, we're trying to make it as global as possible. And so we've got tons of guests, right? I think you saw my tweet and my post earlier. I know for sure Philip's going to be there. I'm going to have some amazing shoutcasters that are going to be sharing the stage with me. Many of whom you've heard of, that are going to be awesome. We're going to have, we're still finalizing the guest list now, but after the meeting we had yesterday, I think you all are going to really, really be interested in this guest. And then on top of that, I want to share with you my excitement over this, right? Obviously I'm excited from like the fact that we got chosen to do this, but let me show you what really excites me. We've been working with the cyber range provider who's providing the cyber range for these games. And we've been working really, really close with them. And we've been trying to find ways, right, that we can legitimately provide you play-by-play. So if you've watched sports before, and they've got cameras on Tom Brady, and the only reason I know that is because somebody used that as an example. I don't actually know who Tom Brady is. But if you got like a camera on Tom Brady, you're bound to see something awesome happen, right? And so we're going to have some of the moderators are going to be watching some of the top players in the world. And when they go to attack something or when they go to defend something, we're going to be able to pull it up on screen dynamically. We're going to have commentators who are going to be being able to commentate on whatever attacking or defending thing that they're going to be doing. And we're going to be able to show you live in real time with commentary this back and forth that's happening for a castle versus castle. And if you've watched some of the CTFs that have happened on Twitch or on YouTube or on some of these other channels, nobody has done it. Nobody will do it quite like we're doing it. And I'm super excited for the level of effort that we're putting into this to make it awesome. And so there's obviously going to be huge giveaways. We're doing tons and tons of giveaways. I talked to my rep at Root, so the guys who do my drink. We're gonna get 25 cases of Root to give away on stream, and we're gonna have a special one-time only code for a 50% discount on any Root that you order during the event, right? And so that's just one that I know of. I know that the Play Cyber team is working on their giveaway package. I think Josh, from a Cyber Supply Drop perspective, is still working on his giveaway package too. So we are definitively bringing out all the stops to make this thing awesome. How long does it go for? It'll be going all day. It'll be going, I think, till 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the idea is that we're going to start streaming at 8. We're going to have a pregame show where they're doing practice today, and so we're going to be watching practice. We're going to be taking notes during practice. We've got notes from their previous events that they've done about how the teams have performed, and we're really going to try to make this very, very interactive in terms of a sports event type of thing. And so we're going to be 8 to 9 will be the pregame show. 9 will be when it starts. We'll run through the entire competition from 9 to 1, I think, is when the entire competition lasts. And then we'll do a post-game show from 1 to 2. And we're going to give away a lot of stuff, and it's going to be really cool in between. It's going to be really, really cool in between. So, with that being said, and I want to remind everybody, hopefully I've given everybody enough time to get into Discord. If you're damn it. That thing is annoying. That thing is so annoying. I'm gonna like take this thing apart. Take this thing apart. Anyway, Big Tree, you are the winner. Please message Josh Mason. Yeah, somebody disabled that button. Yes. All right. Yes, need to cover that button. I know, that's like, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to do something with that button. Either that or I got to stop like touching the mic as I'm like doing it. Yeah. All right. Big Tree, it's okay if your Discord name is different as long as you have linked the two of them together. When you right click on your name, it'll say down below that your Discord name and your YouTube name are linked. And that's how Josh is going to verify that you are who you say you are. And yes, we've had to do this because we've had people try to game the system, all for a giveaway. So, about the degree, did the degree have to be in or related to InfoSec cybersecurity? I think that varies by company to company. In this particular case, it didn't specify one or the other. It just said must have a degree. What about going for a doctorate using recognition of prior learning and demonstrated skill set? No interest, right? I don't see any benefit to it. Doctorate in our field doesn't actually, like, it's not like a doctorate in medical or a doctorate in accounting or a doctorate in lawyer. It actually doesn't do anything for you, right? And so listen, my thing has always been, I'm not a fan of doing things that don't have a return on investment. And I just don't see a return on investment on a doctorate at all. Let's see here. Think about exceptions. Why couldn't do an exception this time? Every company is different. I love Anna Delvey. Anybody who hasn't seen that on Netflix, Inventing Anna, that's an awesome show. I really wish this could be the real Anna Delvey, but I love the name. Inventing Anna is actually really, really, really super awesome. They just couldn't do an exception this time. They chose not to. They chose not to even consider it. They chose not to even go down the process, and that's their choice. I can't fault them because that's not what they wanted to do. That's their choice, right? So, I don't move on, right, type of thing. It's just easier just to move on. Dev says, who would be a good person to reach out to if you have some technical questions regarding Query.ai? Myself, Andrew. I'll be more than happy to help out. If it's like, just reach out to me or Andrew. We'll put you in touch with somebody. That's fine. You talked about getting a job because of networking. You meet a lot of people. How do you know what relationships to build on for purpose of future opportunities? Keep alive seems very hard. It is very hard. It is very hard. It's also very luck. Right? Some of the advice that I gave in subchat. So when I talk about subchat, for those who are wondering what I'm talking about, right? We have if you're on Discord, you should see a little box for memberships. There's a membership called a Narwhal Prime. And so that gets you access to a special voice-only chat inside of Discord. Me and several people hang out in that voice-only chat frequently during the week. And anybody who's in chat who spends time in sub chat can attest. You want to talk about a place where you get access to me and you can ask me like random questions and I give free advice and participate in all the time. Like that's like the streams are just one avenue, right? You can also get access to me in sub chat and I'll answer questions there as well, right? But some of the advice that I gave, I think earlier this week was we were talking about this was finding people that align with your future career goals, finding future jobs that align with your future job goals, and picking quality connections, right? So we talk about networking and getting the 1,000 Connect Challenge, but then you may narrow that circle to companies that you like, and then you may narrow that circle to people that you want to emulate. So it's very strategic in terms of how you pick those people, so that you foster those connections, you foster those relationships. If I were to show you my phone, and I won't because it's got sensitive contacts on there, but I talk to people in our industry on a daily basis, like text messages, like, hey, how you doing? Whether it's on text message, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's Twitter DMs. Like if you were to look at it, I'm having lunch today with the CTO at VMware Carbon Black, right? And I don't need anything from him other than just continuing to build connections in this industry, right? And so that's how you have to approach that mentality, right? Is you've just got to take the time necessary to continue to build connections that will continue to be awesome in your career. And so it is very hard, and it does require work, and it does require practice. Still waiting on Big Tree to message Josh. This is why I say don't go anywhere, because we may still be re-rolling. So I'm going to try to knock out a couple more of these questions. Oh, this is a good one. I like this one. This actually came up in a conversation that I had this week. Is it advisable to use open source tools in a corporate environment, especially banking industry? I very, very Joe Hudson in LinkedIn, man, love seeing you, Joe. That's my dude right there. Joe's awesome. If you're not familiar with Joe Hudson, go find Joe Hudson. He's been on the stream several times. He was a former Backstreet Boys backup dancer. And I see Joe B. Look at that. Joe B in chat too. Wow, look at it, man. Everybody's up in LinkedIn. Wow, seeing everybody's face up in LinkedIn. Yes, Joe B in LinkedIn has said, I've been a victim of one of those texts. Yes, he has. He absolutely has. I rely heavily on texting and things like that. So, is it advisable to use open source tools in a corporate environment? I think we are going to see more and more and more use of open source tools in the corporate environment. Period. Dot. Like end stop right there. I think that with the rapidity, the agility that comes with deploying software in today's environment, I think that you're going to see the use of more and more open source tools. If you go back to a couple of Old Guy Wednesdays, right, where we had Joel on, Joel talked about a software bill of materials. That's something I'm excited to act upon in this new role, because I do think that is probably the key to trying to be successful and trying to prevent some of these things, like or not prevent, but be more receptive, or not receptive, but like responsive, if you will, to things like Log4j, is to know where your software is at, right? And so check out that one. I think that one's actually pretty awesome. Maybe it was Britney Spears. Either one. He was a backup dancer for somebody. Will Root be shipped to New Zealand or USA only? Working on that for next weekend. Stand by to stand by. Does Root put citric acid in all flavors? Can't do it unless they tell me it isn't from corn. Their ingredients are listed on their website. I don't know. Citric, I don't think it's got, I don't know if it does or not. I would encourage you to hit !root in chat. Go to their website. I do know that they have the ingredients list on their website. I'd show you, but it's really, really tiny on the can. But I'd go to the website and check it out. I don't know if it does or not. It's only, I don't know. I should know, but I don't. Josh, we good, man? Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so thank you very much, Big Tree, for your cooperation. Appreciate that. Awesome. Well, good. We got that knocked out. All right, cool. Man, I think that's good. I think we had a good stream for the morning. I want to talk about stream futures really quick, right? Before we cut out for the day. We are on Discord. There is now we've got streaming happening every night during the week, right? Whether it's Jack, Brent, Brandon, Josh, or myself. Streams happening every week. As I've taken a little bit of a break, I'm sure most of you have noticed that I've taken a little bit of a break. That's to try to, take a pause, get some things in order. As you can see, I've had a lot of moving parts in my life. Trying to focus heavily on making this US Cyber Games thing on the 19th really freaking awesome. And so, I'll continue to be very selective about the streams that I do so that I can focus on maximizing, the efforts that we put into things like US Cyber Games. But now that as I get my feet wet and as I get settled into Query, we'll start to ramp those back up and we'll get back into it. So I appreciate everybody's patience and everybody's support as we make the transition. Michael Fink says, when can we get more info on these cyber games? Is there a place to check that? Check out, you should be able to go to my LinkedIn. There's a link to a press release in my LinkedIn as well as on my Twitter for the US Cyber Games, which should have the information. It should take you to Play Cyber. Josh, if you can grab the Play Cyber link too, that'd be cool. But we'll be back to streaming. We'll be back to me streaming normally, but you've got something that you can watch on our stream every night, or on any of our awesome folks, that have been moderators and longtime supporters of the channel. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I want to thank my moderators for moderating. I want to thank Query for an awesome week. First week on the job. I'm super excited to be here. Everybody do me a favor, show me some support. Go to my new company on LinkedIn, Query.ai. Smash that like button and show them that you support the Narwhal Commander heading over there and bring in my 25 years of cybersecurity expertise to bear for that company. I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more honored. Andrew, Daraj, thank you so very much for it. Looking forward to doing some awesome things there. Make sure you got March 19th on your calendar for the US Cyber Games. Lots of cool things happening there. Make sure you hit those exclamation point partners. I want to remind you, partners support you, right? Partners are here to provide prizes and discounts for you. They're the reason that we're able to do giveaways. They're the reason that we've got things going on. And so my simple ask of you is that you go find a partner and you @them on LinkedIn, you @them on Twitter, you @them on Instagram, and you make sure that you show that you appreciate their support for you and your career. Hit exclamation point social so that you get access to all of my social media. I will be going back to doing some TikToks. We were sharing some TikTok stuff the other day, and it was pretty cool, as well as Instagram. And so that stuff will be coming back on as well. And listen, I miss you guys. I miss streaming. I miss hanging out with you all. I'm super excited to have you in my life and have you in my community. Every single one of you is awesome, and I appreciate you. And listen, whether you're on the red side, whether you're on the blue side, or whether you're still deciding, keep learning, and I'll see y'all next time.
Run.